News Central now. This hour begins with security matters, where the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu has announced that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has signed a bill establishing the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons. Ribadu, represented by the Director of External Affairs at the Office of the National Security Advisor, Ibrahim Babani, shared this update at a workshop on gender mainstreaming in preventing the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria and the West African sub-region, held on Tuesday in Abuja. The workshop was organized by the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons. The NSA highlighted that the president's assent to the bill marks a significant step in the government's efforts to combat the proliferation of illegal arms. Still talking arms control, the Nigerian government has announced plans to destroy all seized illicit arms and ammunition by the end of September, including obsolete and decommissioned weapons from arms-bearing agencies. Coordinator of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, retired DIG Johnson Kokumo, made this known during a workshop in Abuja that 3,383 small arms and light weapons, along with 26,749 rounds of ammunition, have been recovered. Kokumo stressed that the upcoming destruction exercise is vital for permanently removing these weapons from circulation. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, represented by Ibrahim Babani, reaffirmed President Tinubu's commitment to curbing arms proliferation through new legislative measures. Staying with insecurity and security matters, 5 suspected notorious gun runners have been arrested by Operation Safe Haven Delta Force and troops of Sector 1 in Plateau State during a raid of their hideout, following an intelligence-driven operation in the state. News Central's Chizoba Nyongwe tells us more.
That was the arrival of the suspects, alleged to have indulged in the illegal possession and use of firearms and ammunition in Plateau State. It is their activities that give sleepless nights to members of the public. This makes it more worrisome that such calibers of arms and ammunition are still in the wrong hands. The recovered arms and live ammunition include 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 Fabric National automatic rifle, 14 AK-47 magazines, 1 Fabric National magazine, 5,316 rounds of 7.62mm special, 98 rounds of 7.62mm NATO, and 43 rounds of 9mm.
Troops of Operation Safe Haven, in pursuance of one of its core mandates of mopping up illegal arms and ammunition in the joint operation areas, arrested 5 notorious gun runners and recovered arms and ammunition in an intelligence-driven operation carried out in Plateau State. In an operation that lasted from midnight of 16 September 2024 to the early hours of 17 September 2024, Operation Safe Haven Delta Force and Sector 1 troops raided the hideout of a gun runner identified as Mohammed Sani at Naraguta mining area in Bayamani, along Bauchi Road in Jos North local government area of Plateau State.
The media and information officer is convinced that the military will deliver more on their mandate if members of the public continue to provide credible information to security agencies.
The suspects are undergoing interrogation for useful intelligence to aid in arresting other members of the syndicate, as well as decimating the gun-running supply chain. Operation Safe Haven commends the good people of Plateau State for furnishing troops with credible information leading to the arrest of the gun runners and recovery of arms and ammunition.
If operations such as this continue to gain momentum, then there will be more trust in the Nigerian military in combating insurgency in the country. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyuri.
And on to politics matters, governors of the People's Democratic Party have reaffirmed their recognition of Siminalayi Fubara as a party leader in Rivers State, despite ongoing tensions with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Following a meeting in Taraba State, the PDP Governors Forum expressed full support for Fubara and called on the party's National Working Committee to address concerns surrounding the recent party congresses in Rivers. Wike, displeased with this development, has threatened to retaliate against governors who challenge his influence. In response, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, who chairs the PDP Governors Forum, humorously said Bauchi has enough water to quench the fire, while reaffirming the forum's backing of Fubara's leadership in Rivers State. Well, to discuss this further, I'm being joined by legal practitioner and public affairs analyst Tohwo Oseruvwoja, who is joining me from the United Kingdom. Welcome here on Breakfast. I said breakfast, I beg your pardon. You're on News Now. Let's look at this particular story. It begs to think about the fact that the FCT minister a few days ago had spoken to the media and the press, making it clear that his presence and his stronghold in PDP cannot be one that other governors would try to play with. But here we see the governors teaming up, as it were, and pointing fingers directly at him and telling him that he cannot do anything, therefore ceding power to Governor Siminalayi Fubara. What do you make of this entire show? Many have said it's one that's showing a power tussle. Others have said it's something different. What's your take on all of this?
Okay, thank you very much. I think people who are close to Wike, I respect him very much. And if you've followed the political trend from 1999 down to date, you discover that Wike came into play into the national politics when he stood by Amaechi, because he was one that fought when Amaechi was on the self-air side. But another thing again I want to also point out is that Wike should also know that the person he intends to see as a president, which is, I believe, the style and leadership Wike is trying to deploy in Rivers State, is the one of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which he has been able to manage the political structure in the Southwest. But you can't compare both of them, because Wike, on the other part of it, and the geographical area is coming from, are people who are self-determined and has this self-goals to challenge anything they feel that is a threat to themselves. So Ian Fubara possess such characters, and you know what that means to the larger table of leadership. Then on the other side, the person he is trying to see, that he is trying to emulate, does not only came into the political square of Nigeria in 1999. Tinubu has been in politics far back, the Second Republic and the Third Republic, and he inherited those structures. We should not forget the structure of SDP, of MKO Abiola, and the NEDECO structure, which is the marriage between the Southwest and the Northern politicians. But Wike, on the other side, is just coming into the national politics from 2007 down to where he is now. So one thing I would advise, or one thing I foresee, is Wike should borrow the leave of Shiwa Achebe in Things Fall Apart, when he described the attitude of Okonkwo. Though he's self-made, and we must say that he's not among those that their panel were broken by the benevolent spirit. He is self-made, and he struggled through the process to become who he is. But one thing he should understand, that at this particular point in time, he should try to draw the line when this conflict between Fubara and also the alliance in the north, because he cannot underrate the northern political structure if he wants to be relevant in national politics.
What impact could Wike's threats to ignite crisis, like he said, in PDP-controlled states have on the party? I mean, look at the party stability, the leadership structure. His statements seem to brim of fire and seem to be of a fire and brimstone. What impact do you think this would have, especially on the party, saying that he's going to go as far as igniting crisis?
No, well, I don't think Wike has that political strength to carry out such a threat. But you know, politics is politics. Utterances are made. But one thing that differentiates politics from the normal life is when you make an utterance, be able and capable of carrying out such utterances when it comes to the heated control of a structure of the political party. I don't think Wike has that political structure or that political will to carry out such a threat. But beyond that, that statement, that the political circle he made such a statement, we should also look at the wider security danger in that particular statement. Because if, for example, looking at the current security situation in Nigeria, such a person can come out boldly to say such a thing. We should not only look at it politically, we should also look at it at generally the security implication of such a statement. But for me, I think Wike is just making, he has this charisma. He has this charisma of, I won't say he's a bullist. I won't say he has this charisma of trying to air his pain without caution. And I think that is what resulted to such a statement. Then far back to the structure, if you look at it carefully, whatever they are fighting for, neither Wike or Fubara or the people, or the governors of the governor under the PDP, none of them are constitutionally recognized by the PDP constitution. There is nothing like that. As a matter of fact, in Nigerian politics, we are not talking about UK now. In Nigerian politics, there's nothing like leader of a party. We have structures, and the structures are managed by positions spelled out by the constitution of that political party. If you look at the structure of the PDP in the state, you will never see mention of the state governor as the leader of the party. It's the chairman from the caucus, from the state working committee down to the state party congress. If you look at section 21 down to section 25 of the PDP constitution of 2019, you will never see where they call state leader. It's the state party chairman that we have in this area. So I don't really know where this is coming from, but you know that now in Nigeria, public funds are used in running political activities, political parties. So whoever have access to the public fund is regarded as the party leader, and which is bad.
All right, so in line with what you've just said, does that mean that recognizing Governor Siminalayi Fubara as the leader of the PDP in River State might seem to be null and void and may not have any impact on what the FCT minister has actually said?
No, it's not and void, because there's nothing like party leader apart from what we call the party chairman. Then you go down to the structure, which is the party chairman. You talk about if the president is from the state, it's part of the state executive council. If the governor of the state is from the party, that is just it. So what the claim put forward by Fubara and the claim put forward by Wike is a practice that is non and void to the constitution, but it's a practice that has been known, conventionally known, during the time of Obasanjo to give relief to the state governors to hold the structure of the state, to hold the structure of the state of that political party, of each political party in the state under the PDP. But it's Obasanjo that introduced it. But constitutionally, and after the PDP constitution has gone through several amendments, it has not been placed in the constitution. So I think the leader of that party, the leader should be who is the chairman, the party state chairman of the state, not who is the governor of the state, or neither the FCT minister who is in Abuja, but dictate what happened in River State, or want to dictate what happened in River State as alleged.
All right. Just a few days ago, many had said that Wike had a stronghold on River State. And recently, we've also seen the National Working Committee make a U-turn and say that they are in support of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Aside that, we've also seen the PDP members, even former PDP members, saying that the party is spineless, as it were, and they do not have the power or the wherewithal to actually dismiss former governor of River State, Nyesom Wike, now the current FCT minister. What are your thoughts on this concerning the party itself and its back and forth play, especially when it comes to who they should actually follow through? Is it the current governor or is it the former governor who's now the FCT minister?
Well, if you look at it carefully, and if you look at the constitution of the PDP, I think we should we should, please forgive me to say that Wike should not be regarded as a member of the People Democratic Party. Permit me to say. But you see, like they say, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. So I don't really know what is happening in PDP, but between the crisis of the attitude of Wike has actually exposed the political ideology in Nigeria. So for me, I think that Wike should not be regarded, or Wike should not be seen as a member of the PDP. I think, because if you look at his attitude, if you look at his actions, and if you look at what he's doing, is anti-party, simplicity. But it is what it is. And you know, people are benefiting from the crisis, because you also know that the current acting chairman is from the Northeast, which basically, if you look at the zonal arrangement, the national party chairman, acting national party chairman ought to come from the North Central. So everybody is benefiting from the crisis. So then you will now realize that what we are having is individualism, not party structure or party ideology or party system. So it's individualism, what benefits individual and whose individual is hot or is happy. That is just it. But for me, when you talk about the PDP of a team, I don't think Wike should be categorized as a member of PDP. If PDP is a political party that believes in their constitution and believe in their disciplinary organs put in place.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, legal practitioner Tohwo Oseruvwoja. Thank you so much for your time. All right. Time for a break. When we return, the federal government has warned and is still warning of flooding as Cameroon opens Lado Dam. We have details of this story and more after the break. Welcome back. The Nigerian government has issued a flood alert following the release of water from Cameroon's Lado Dam. Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Umar Mohammed, announced that the release will be gradual with no major flooding expected. However, states including Adamawa, Taraba, Kogi and Benue are advised to prepare for potential impacts. In 2022, water releases from the Lado Dam caused devastating floods in Nigeria, leading to 603 deaths and the displacement of 1.4 million people. Mohammed explained that the current water flow, starting at 100 cubic meters per second, could increase over the next 7 days. The releases will be carefully managed to prevent overwhelming the Benue River system. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation. Residents of Mpape in the Buari Area Council of Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory say that they have been gripped by fear following a series of earth tremors that rocked the area for the last 3 consecutive days. Some of them say that the incidents, which started on Saturday, had become a cause for worry as buildings within the area experienced vibrations during the tremors. News Central's Joshua Imarayi tells us more.
Pape community is located at the Buari Area Council of Abuja. The community, which is located on a rocky terrain and surrounded by metamorphic rocks, has experienced earth tremors since Saturday, a situation that continued into the early hours of Tuesday.
We really surprised what happened yesterday, I'm telling you. Because the way the ground even sick, we think say Abuja won't collapse. That's what we were experiencing yesterday, honestly. Like 2 times. The thing do like that for Pape here.
This ground shaking, it has happened before. So even if we had cream for ground, it's normal. Maybe it's an outsider that company will be afraid of it. It's normal.
The district head of the area says the tremors are not new, as the community has experienced similar incidents in the past.
This thing had happened before, about 5 years ago. The same thing happened this year, where we had it yesterday. That time when it happened, government sent some officials to check the area, to know what is going on there. And I seen at the same thing, government will send people to know what is going on there. Because formally it's not happened. Last 5 years ago, it never happened here. And this year again, it happened. That time, it shake. Everybody is aware. Government they have to say the agents to come down here and just take the area. They didn't say anything, but they observe everything what is going on there. They didn't give all feedback.
The tremors being witnessed in Papi and surrounding FCT areas have put many residents on edge. Some of them are calling on authorities of the FCT administration to swiftly intervene and prevent a much larger disaster. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Well, let's head back to politics now. The first batch of 35,000 police personnel has arrived in Edo State to ensure law and order ahead of Saturday's governorship election. Troops from the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission are also on the ground to secure a peaceful voting process. 17 candidates are contesting the election, with the top contenders being Monday Okpebolo of the APC, Asuego Dalo of the PDP, and Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party. Despite past court rulings limited military involvement in elections, the deployment is intended to deter violence. While stakeholders caution against over-militarization, officials have reassured voters that security measures are in place for a safe election. The NSCDC has deployed 6,433 officers to critical areas to prevent disruptions. Opposition is growing against the emergence of Callisto Okafor as the factional national chairman of the Labour Party. In separate interviews, Labour Party's National Secretary Umar Farouk and the Deputy President of the Nigerian Labour Congress Political Commission, Theophilus Ndubuauku, has disowned Okafor and his faction. While the spotlight has been on the rift between the Julius Abure-led National Working Committee and the 29-member caretaker committee headed by former Minister Nnamdi Usman, Okafor took the opportunity to announce his faction's presence. Away from that, the Lagos State government has announced an increase in boarding fees for its model schools to 100,000 naira starting the 2024-2025 session. Deputy Director of Public Affairs Ganiyu Lawal explained that the previous fee of 35,000 naira in place since 2021 was no longer feasible. The hike aims to improve student welfare and address the significant student population in boarding schools. Lawal acknowledged the concerns from some parents but emphasized that the decision, though challenging, prioritizes the students' well-being. The Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education remains committed to enhancing the quality of education despite the fee adjustments. To discuss this, I will be joined by educationist Jolawo Olufumilayo, who joins me here to look at this current situation. Well, thank you so much for being here on News Now. How does the increase in boarding fees align with the quality of services and, most importantly, the facilities provided in model schools that we see today?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I think the real question is, what weight do education have in government today in Nigeria? The cost of everything is rising. Cost of fuel, cost of living, cost of transportation, and now cost of education. We have private schools that charge exorbitant prices. We have highbrow schools that charge astronomical prices. So for an average Nigerian, it's trying to get education as basic and as quality driven as it could be. And that increment will definitely kick a lot of students out of school because if you're paying 35,000, it's been increased to 100,000. The question is how many people can afford that as we speak in Nigeria today? Yes, everything is rising, but I believe if it's a front burner, it's something that can still be subsidized so we get more students educated.
All right. From 35,000, it risen to 100,000. But even though the government has said that they could also maintain status quo for now until next term, but are there other potential sources of funding for the model schools? I mean, such as public-private partnerships, PPP, donations, or grants that could actually have been explored to mitigate the need for a fee increase? And I'd like to also ask, aside from the fact if there are other potential sources, What also makes of the student loan? Do you think there could have been arrangements to equally benefit states?
Exactly. Now, like I said ab initio, we know the number of students we have in public takes to be able to take care of those children in those schools, vis-a-vis their boarding schools. As a government, you can't base the education on grants, on the well-being of other citizens to kind of like cushion the effect. In this case, I believe in the budget, there should be a substantial amount to take care of this. Now, if that is done well, then you can now have other bodies, WHOs, UNESCO, they do this in other countries, Peru and the rest. WHO, UNESCO can now come in to now say, okay, how can we help you subsidize this thing? Sometimes they have partnerships with publishers, that could bring in books free. A lot of things can be done, but they want to see that should I say vibe from the state itself, to see that education is very important. And if you look at it, we have done it in the past. We've had free education in the past. We've had actually people go through grade school free here. If you look at other countries, basic education is free. In the US, you don't pay anything to go through grade school. It's only when you're going to get to college that you have to pay. And that can still apply here. The basic education, grade school, can still be seriously subsidized. And at the end of the day, the money can still be gotten back from people that decide to go to college, universities, trade colleges, etc. So it's a kind of like a give and take, that will make this work. But if you push all the burdens to the parents, and when there are issues and the parents have to take these burdens, definitely a lot of kids will have to drop out of school.
Just as they said that the minimum wage, which was moved from 35,000 to 70,000 naira, even though we do know some states have not yet implemented that, the school has also...
Sorry, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. I'm saying just as we looked at the minimum wage from the federal government level, from 35,000 to 70,000 naira, and then we also looked at the model school, which 35,000 naira needs to be increased to 100,000 naira. What we've seen here is that the current state of the economy will not also allow the government, that is the Lagos State government, to continue running on 35,000 naira. What do you think can be done successively so it could help parents to at least get prepared for this? Because the government has said whether they like it or not, there is no going back.
Yes, I understand on both ends, but you have to look at it from this perspective too. In our system, we have 3 terms in a session, and we all know how the economy is right now. So if I understand the fact that everything has gone 200%, food prices, it's going, off the roof and all that, but it could be something that they could give them a session's notice. From first term, we give them a session's notice. Okay, we're going to increase it to so amount by next session. So, it will just give these parents a kind of soft landing, a kind of cushion effect to be able to plan ahead and see what they can do. But right now, you have actually paid school fees for first term, and by second term, you would have to increase it that way. And look at it from this perspective. You have parents that have 2-3 kids in a school. So just multiply that by a parent that is on minimum wage.
I can only imagine what the outcome would be. I want to say thank you so much, economists, for joining us. Thank you for your time. Jolawo Olufumilayo, for being here on News Now. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. In a move to deepen discussions on economic growth and development in Nigeria, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, is looking to partner with News Central Television for its upcoming 30th Nigerian Economic Summit. This was made known during a courtesy visit by the NESG executive team to the News Central TV headquarters here in Lagos. News Central correspondent Lekon Nabanjo tells us more in this report.
Nigeria's economy is facing significant challenges, including a hostile business environment, rising unemployment, inflation, poverty, and financial instability. For decades, foremost economic think tank, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, has been known to offer some of the needed policy direction for the government through its annual Nigerian Economic Summit, which draws some of the brightest minds to brainstorm on various subject matters. Ahead of this year's edition of the gathering, a delegation from the NESG pays a courtesy call on News Central Television to explore ways of partnering to promote discussions aimed at improving Nigeria's economic situation.
I'm not surprised at the kind of passion you are expressing about commitment to work with us beyond the transaction to begin something that should be long-lasting and highly impactful between News Central and NESG. I will not be surprised if we can make it happen.
The delegation received by the executive management of News Central, led by its managing director, Kayode Akintemi, emphasizes the station's readiness for the collaboration.
My expectation is that this is going to be something that will endure. I'm not looking for one season or 3 months relationship just to do an economic summit for this year. I'm looking at the long haul, the long term, how we make sure that when you think of the summits, you remember what has happened on the News Central television.
NESG's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Tayo Aduluju, goes down memory lane, highlighting the group's cardinal objectives, which he says are hinged on democracy, the rule of law, governance, and a commitment to an enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
30 years ago, we were at an inflection point. What you call the Washington Consensus reforms, which more IMF structural adjustment program, had wreaked havoc in the African economy. I am now dealing with massive macroeconomic volatility of a scale where the macro pass-through risks on markets, households, and individuals has created a cost of business crisis and a cost of living crisis.
The NESG also stresses its commitment to establishing a long-lasting relationship beyond the summit with News Central Television in ensuring economic issues and empirical solutions remain at the forefront of national discourse.
We are undaunted, we are not frustrated. We believe that we can achieve more through effective collaborations, partnerships across different segments, different levels, and it would pay us more. It is even greater inclusion because together we can do much more.
This kind of project is one that I will say we have to invest everything. And that's because I know the state of the economy of Nigeria. We always insist that we have to have our finger on the pulse of the nation.
As Nigeria continues to explore ways of resolving its critical economic challenges, the partnership between NESG and News Central Television offers a beacon of hope to ignite a spark that will propel the nation towards economic prosperity, social justice, and sustainable development. In Lagos for News Central, Lekon Onabanjo.
Welcome back. The news continues in West Africa, where around 30 Nobel laureates, including Denis Mukwege and Professor Wole Soyinka, have called for the release of Niger's ousted President Mohamed Bazoum, who has been detained since a military coup in July 2023. In an open letter published in Le Monde, the laureates urged the military junta led by General Abdurrahmani Tiani to release the democratically elected leader. Bazoum and his wife are reportedly being held under harsh conditions with limited access to communication. While the military accuses Bazoum of treason and financing terrorism, the Nobel laureates argue these charges are in retaliation for his anti-corruption efforts. Despite his detention, Bazoum has refused to resign, remaining under house arrest in the presidential palace. Well, staying in West Africa, residents of the Malian capital Bamako shared their views and accounts on an attack on a military airport and training center claimed by the Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin (JNIM) group, an Al-Qaeda affiliate. The terrorist group said that a special operation targeted the military airport and the training center of the Malian gendarmes in the center of the Malian capital at dawn. Heavy exchanges of fire took place early afternoon near the police station, controlling access to the civilian airport terminal. Earlier, Mali's army said the situation was under control after what it called a foiled infiltration attempt by terrorists into a military police base. Let's head to the east of the continent, where U.S. President Joe Biden has called on Sudan's warring factions, the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces, to re-engage in peace talks and allow humanitarian aid access. In a statement on Tuesday, Biden urged both sides to withdraw their forces, reaffirming the America's commitment to supporting the Sudanese people in their pursuit of freedom, peace and justice. The conflict, which began in April last year, has claimed up to 150,000 lives, and efforts to mediate have been hindered by the SAF's refusal to fully participate in negotiations. Biden also voiced deep concern over the RSF siege of El Fasher in Darfur, calling for an immediate end to the violence ravaging the region. Let's go up north now, where Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune has been sworn in for a second 5-year term following his victory in the September 7th presidential election. The official ceremony took place at the Palace of Nations in Algiers. The event began with a recitation of verses from the Noble Quran, followed by the reading of a constitutional court statement by its chairman, Omar Belhaj, confirming the final election results. Tebboune secured 84.3% of the votes, slightly reduced from the initial count, which had been contested by his opponents. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go outside of Africa. The army says at least 2 soldiers died and 26 were wounded in a bomb attack on Tuesday on a military base in Colombia, blaming left-wing National Liberation Army guerrillas who have been in, off and on peace talks with the government. The ELN has intensified attacks on military targets since August, when it decided not to renew a ceasefire that had been in force with army forces since 2023 as part of negotiations held fitfully since the previous year. It took place in the town of Puerto Jordan in eastern Arauca department on the border with Venezuela, the army wrote on the social network X. The head of the armed forces, General Luis Emilio Cardozo, said the explosives were detonated in a dump truck. Let's now join the business team for today's news.
Nigeria is grappling with the effects of a global coffee crisis as futures prices increased by over 30% due to severe drought conditions in Brazil, the leading Arabica coffee producer. In 2024, coffee prices in Nigeria have doubled, with some brands seeing significant increases. The rainfall deficit in Brazil has led to a sharp decline in coffee production, prompting a worldwide scramble for supplies. This surge in U.S. coffee futures and Arabica futures has further impacted Nigerian market, exacerbated by inflation and rising raw material costs. Experts suggest improved agricultural practices to combat climate change's effects on coffee production. In the
And in sports, Ghana President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has dismissed Dozie Numekevo, Director General of the National Sports Authority, following the Confederation of African Football's revocation of Baba Yara Stadium's license to host international matches. The decision is reportedly linked to the renting out the stadium for a 6-day church event before Ghana's crucial AFCON 2025 qualifier against Angola. Akufo-Addo had previously warned Sports Minister Mustafa Yusuf about the poor management of sports facilities, holding him accountable for any forced relocation of home matches. Numekevo, who was queried by the Sports Ministry, was dismissed on Tuesday. With Ghana's local stadium closed for upgrades, the country is considering hosting Sudan in Togo for the upcoming AFCON qualifier. Roma surprisingly fired coach Daniele De Rossi after a winless start to their first 4 Serie A matches. De Rossi, a former Roma captain, took over in January, replacing Jose Mourinho, and his strong performance last season earned him a contract extension through 2026-2027. Despite his recent success, the club decided to part ways, stating the move was in the best interest of the team to quickly get back on track while the season is still young. Roma expressed gratitude for De Rossi's passion and dedication, emphasizing he will always be part of the family. The club has yet to announce his replacement. Roma will face Serie A leaders Udinese on Sunday in a crucial home match. And that's all the news we have for you this hour. But before we go, another look at some of the major stories. PDP governors defy Wike, affirm Fubara as Rivers leader. Federal government warns of flooding as Cameroon opens Lado Dam. United States President Joe Biden urges warring parties in Sudan to re-engage in peace talks. You can send in your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and you can follow us on all socials. We are at News Central TV. Watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and you can always stream live on YouTube and on Facebook. 10 a.m. West African time, it will be Jasiri with the ladies. I'm Joe Hanson, thanking you for watching.